Yeah, it's cool. It's funny what kind of people are attracted to. I'm just trying to keep the main thing. The main thing is that's basketball, trying to win games, sticking up for my teammates. And that's all part of it. I think all that stuff it's fun and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we need to win some basketball games.
The Indiana Fever fans weren't merely supporting a player. They were standing behind a warrior, a protector, a woman who had done what no one else dared to do in that moment. And suddenly, the world was watching. Sophie Cunningham wasn't supposed to be the story in a league trying to build new stars and elevate fresh faces. She was the role player, solid, dependable, often overlooked. But then came the foul, not just any foul, a deliberate, unapologetic message sent through action, not words. A message that said, Caitlin Clark won't be targeted anymore, not without consequence. This single act flipped the WNBA script. Let's rewind. Let's slow this story down, because what happened wasn't just about basketball. It was about fairness, it was about loyalty, it was about identity, and the clash of tradition and change in a league that's never seen this kind of spotlight before. And as this spotlight grew, it didn't just shine on Clark, it found Sophie too. And she didn't blink. For weeks, fans had watched something disturbing unfold in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark, the rookie phenom breaking every viewership record, wasn't being welcomed as a rising star. She was being hunted game after game. She took elbows, body checks, cheap fouls, and deliberate swipes. And the officials silent, no flagrant fouls, no ejections, just shrugs. The message was loud and clear. The golden goose of the WNBA was fair game. And this wasn't just a perception, it was a pattern. From the jump, it was clear Caitlin Clark wasn't being treated like LeBron or Steph. If LeBron got poked in the eye and chucked to the ground, refs would halt the game, fans would lose their minds, commentators would erupt, but Clark, she'd get up, brush off the dust, and keep playing. Meanwhile, her teammates stood frozen, silent, powerless. Until Sophie Cunningham didn't come in with hype. She wasn't the no one pick. She wasn't headlining highlight reels. She was a grinder, a glue player, the kind of player every good team needs, but few talk about. Yet on this night, when the sun took aim again and again at Clark with unchecked aggression, Sophie decided to answer. It was J.C.S. Sheldon who drove to the rim. Sophie met her midair. Hard, no subtlety, no attempt to disguise it. This was not basketball. This was a message, and that message was clear. Not on my watch. The arena exploded. Fans roared. Social media lit up. Within minutes, video clips circulated on X, TikTok, Instagram, racking up millions of views. That foul didn't end the game. It started a fire. Within hours, the reaction split down the middle. There were two Americas watching this story. One side called Sophie a thug, a dirty player, a disgrace. Petitions circulated demanding she be banned from the league. Commentators questioned her character. Headlines labeled her violent. But the other side, they saw something else. They saw justice. They saw courage. They saw the first player in weeks who finally stood up to the bullies, not with a tweet or a post-game soundbite, but with action, and that action paid off. Literally, Sophie's Indiana Fever jersey sold out online. Within 48 hours, her social media exploded with hundreds of thousands of new followers. Major brand accounts tweeted her name. Sports outlets across the country picked up the story. This wasn't just viral, it was historic. The Clark Army, Caitlin Clark's rabid fan base, had found their enforcer, their shield, their knight. And when you fight for their star, they fight for you. They don't just click, they buy, they share, they elevate. Sophie Cunningham was now a household name, but this wasn't just a PR moment. Sophie had done something else, something bigger. She had put the league in check. The WNBA was standing at a crossroads. On one hand, they couldn't be seen as giving Caitlin Clark special treatment. On the other, they were letting their most valuable player get physically targeted game after game. Sophie gave them a solution. She showed that if the refs wouldn't protect Clark, her teammates would. And that changed everything. From that moment forward, every player knew, if you come for Clark, you better be ready ready for what comes next. Behind the scenes, Sophie's agent's phone blew up. Local brands, state-level campaigns, even national advertisers began sniffing around. She wasn't just a player now. She was a story, a movement, a brand, grit, loyalty, fearlessness. Those qualities are gold in today's marketing world, and she had them all. Sophie Cunningham's move wasn't just a foul, it was a business model. In the modern sports world, moments go viral, but moments don't last, brands do. And Sophie Cunningham, whether she intended to or not, had just created a blueprint for longevity. No statements, no apologies, no media tour, just a simple retweet. Her jersey had sold out. That one click spoke louder than 1,000 interviews.
You guys came for basketball?
Yeah,
Let's talk about basketball. Come on now.
It wasn't a defense. It was a victory lapped suddenly. Sophie wasn't just the woman who took a stand. She was the woman who won, and fans, especially women's sports fans, noticed, because this wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about image, message, identity, leadership. Her move flipped the narrative.
No hesitation. Last night, double team, step back, sideways.
While social media raged, Sophie's jersey flew off shelves. The outrage brigade ran out of breath, but her supporters?
I know what it's like to be hated.
They showed up with credit cards. From hometown restaurants in Missouri to national athletic brands, people wanted to be associated with her. Not because she made a shot, but because she made a stand. She became a case study. How to take backlash and turn it into a bankable platform. How to weaponize loyalty, grit, and timing into a digital empire. And with Caitlin Clark as the rising sun of the WNBA.
I think just having good perspective is the best way to approach it. Like, yeah, you can be frustrated and whatnot, but you know, I think the medical team has done a really good job of...
Sophie found the perfect orbit. She's not just Clark's protector. She's a parallel brand. One rooted in action, in toughness, in team-first mentality. And that resonates far beyond basketball. Now, the WNBA faces a choice it can't dodge. For decades, the league has fought tooth and nail for visibility, for legitimacy, for growth. Suddenly, Caitlin Clark arrives, and viewership spikes, attendance surges, jerseys fly off the shelves. But with that spotlight comes scrutiny. The question now isn't whether fans are watching. It's whether the league will rise to meet the moment. Sophie's foul lit a fire, but it also exposed a fracture. Is the WNBA ready to protect its stars the way the NBA does? Is it prepared to evolve from a tight-knit fraternity of players into a global entertainment product? Because here's the truth. The old guard is resisting. We've seen it, the jealousy, the fouls, the coded language. But fans? They've already made their decision. They're not here for gatekeeping. They're here for greatness, and if the WNBA wants to thrive, it needs to recognize that moments like Sophie's, yes, even the controversial ones, are signals of something powerful, something overdue. Change. The league has a chance to lean in, to build new stars, to enforce rules that protect investment, and to celebrate the kind of fierce loyalty that makes headlines and moves merchandise. Because what Sophie Cunningham did wasn't just defend a teammate, she defended the future of the league. There's a special kind of power in silence, a kind most athletes never get to wield. In an era where every foul becomes a tweet, every play a post.
And I mean, when I tell you social media is setting the WNBA on fire right now, not in a good way, It's the understatement.
And every headline a comment wore. Sophie Cunningham did something radical. She said nothing, no press conference, no carefully written apology, no counter-argument, no social media clapback. Instead, she retweeted a screenshot. Her jersey had sold out. That single gesture did more than 1,000 PR spin cycles ever could. It proved the people were watching, and more importantly, that they were buying. It flipped the conversation from disciplinary hearings to dollar signs, from outrage to outcomes. While analysts argued, Sophie's name shot into Google's trending
against
list.
a player, and that's not on. That's not on for nothing. There are people literally out there encouraging violence against Sophie Cunningham, and these are the people that want to say another fan base is the worst fan base in the WNBA, and they're encouraging literal violence against players.
While critics fumed, brand managers got to work. It wasn't just about a jersey anymore. It was about what that jersey symbolized: loyalty, grit, defiance, protection. She became the face of a movement without even moving her lips. And while her critics clutched pearls, her fans opened wallets. There's no more powerful marketing metric than a fan base who votes with money. And that's exactly what they did. Sophie didn't need a marketing team. She had a fan army. Every revolution has a spark. And in today's WNBA, that spark is Caitlin Clark. She didn't start the league. She didn't demand special treatment. She didn't play dirty. She just showed up and played. And in doing so, she drew millions. And with those millions came responsibility. Suddenly, every player near her, on the same team or on the opposing bench, was thrust into the spotlight. A simple screen became a flashpoint. A foul became a referendum. A teammate became a brand ambassador. That's the Clark effect. And Sophie Cunningham embraced it better than anyone. She didn't just stand near Clark. She stood for her. That one action, that one flagrant foul, was a symbol, not just of physicality, but of loyalty, of frustration, of a breaking point reached. It was the embodiment of what thousands of fans were screaming at their screens for weeks. When is someone going to step up for her? Sophie did, and in doing so, she connected directly with Clark's fan base, arguably the most active and invested group in all of sports today. These aren't just casual spectators. They're organizers, advocates, merch buyers, hashtag trenders, petition writers. Loyalty on steroids. Sophie didn't just ride the Clark effect. She amplified it. You don't need to be an economist to understand what happened next. Sophie Cunningham's follower count didn't just go up. Her market value did. To jersey sales gone in hours, endorsement inquiries flooded, social engagement tripled. And let's talk about those followers. They weren't bots, they weren't empty clicks. They were active, angry, loyal, and loud. The kind of audience brands dream of. This wasn't just attention. This was capital. And the industry took notice. Energy drink companies, local dealerships, national chains, media companies. Everyone wanted a piece of the enforcer who stood up for the league's golden girl. And Sophie? She kept playing calm, steady, unapologetic. Because she knew the moment was bigger than a contract. It was a message in a league still clawing for financial stability. The real currency isn't ad space or airtime. It's narrative, and Sophie Cunningham, in one single moment, became the richest player in that regard. Her story was on every sports site, in every group chat, debated in bars, and analyzed on morning shows. Not for a triple-double, not for a game winner, for doing what fans felt no one else would. That's not just newsworthy, that's legacy-defining. Sophie Cunningham didn't set out to become a lightning rod. But lightning doesn't ask for permission. It strikes, and strike she did. In one brutal, poetic, necessary foul, she sent a message that fans had been praying someone would deliver. That the days of unchecked aggression against Caitlin Clark were over. That the Indiana Fever weren't just a team, they were a unit. A family, one that would protect its own. It's easy to forget that before this moment, Sophie Cunningham was just another name on a roster. Now, she's a symbol, a turning point, a test case in how fast a league can shift when courage meets timing. And her story is only beginning. Because every fan who cheered when she fouled, every kid who bought her jersey, every brand executive who circled her name on a Monday morning call sheet, they didn't just see a role player.
Yeah, I think that's just who I am. It's my personality. I'm the glue to it. We kind of have a weird age gap. We have some oldies on the team. We have some young bucks, and I'm kind of the tweener is what they call me. And so it's just trying to make everyone match and make sure we're all just having good vibes, right? The seasons has a bunch of highs and lows. And so just trying to keep a level head on everyone. But I also think that we get to play basketball for a living, and that's super fun. So sometimes you just need a good perspective of like, hey, we're in the grind right now and it feels hard, but at the end of the day, we get to dribble a ball for a living. So we got to be grateful for that.
What's it going to take for you guys to get on a roll here and get some wins together?
You know what? I think we just shot ourselves in the foot. I thought we played pretty good in the first half out in San Fran, and then we just empty offensive possessions. We were sloppy defensively. They just outworked us, and that is something that we don't want that in our DNA. And so I think you're going to see some spunk from us. Today was a little quiet, but I think we were just dialed in, right? We have a fun group, we have a goofy group, but sometimes you kind of need to get pissed off a little bit and dial in. I think that's what you saw today.
They saw a pioneer. And if the WNBA leans into this moment, if it listens to the pulse of its growing, hungry fan base, it won't just reward Sophie, it will elevate the entire league. Because here's the secret: Sophie didn't steal the spotlight, she earned it. By doing the one thing that matters most in sports, she showed up. She stood firm. She had someone's back when it mattered, and in doing so, she rewrote her story, and maybe, just maybe, the league's future. That's not a controversy, that's history in motion.